Welcome to Renaissance Academy. Today we are going to discuss a poem, A Teenager's Prayer, written by Morse. A Teenager's Prayer is a poem about teenagers who are in the age group of 13 to 17 year old, and it is about their fate in adolescent years. Teenagers are also called as adolescent, right? So a teenager's prayer, this is a poem written by Morse. Let's read the poem. A teenager's prayer. Each day brings new beginnings, decisions I must make. I am the only one to choose the road that I will take. I can choose to take the road of life that leads to great success, or travel down the darkened road that leads to great distress. Please open up my eyes, dear Lord, that I might clearly see. Help me stand for what is right. Bring out the best in me. Help, Lord, to just say no when temptation comes my way, that I might keep my body clean and fit for each day. When my teenage years are over, I know that I will see that life is lived its very best with you walking next to me. A teenager's prayer. So, in the first stanza, the poet says, each day brings new beginnings, decisions I must make. I am the only one to choose the road that I will take. Right. In the first stanza, the poet talks about the problems or the situations of teenagers. In the first stanza, the poet says that each day brings new beginnings, and on that new beginnings a teenager needs to take a decisions, right? He need to choose the road that will brings their decisions to the final output, right? So in the first stanza the poet says that each day brings new beginnings, and on that beginnings a teenager or poet needs to take decisions, right? And he is the only one, a teenager or adolescent is the only one who is going to take decisions on new beginnings. Let's discuss second stanza. I can choose to take the road of life that leads to great success, or travel down the darkened road that leads to great distress. In the second stanza the poet talks about the dilemma of teenager's mind, right? So in the second stanza the poet or teenager is saying that he can choose any one path, any one road which is available for his life, right? So the teenager is having options of two paths or two roads that are leading your his aim towards the success, right? So one way, one road of life is a great which is leading towards success, and the another one which is darkened, which is evil, right? Which is a bad road, which is full of thorns, right? That may lead to great success. So in the second stanza the poet talks about the dilemma of teenager's mind, right? So let's discuss third stanza. Please open up my eyes, dear Lord, that I might clearly see. Help me stand for what is right and bring out the best in me. In the third stanza, the poet is directly addressing to the Lord or God, and he is requesting to the God that please open up his eyes that he can clearly see what is right or what is wrong, and he is requesting to the God that to bring out the best in him, right? In the next stanza, help Lord to just say no when temptation comes my way, that I might keep my body clean and fit for life each day, right? So in the fourth stanza the poet is saying that whenever temptation comes his way, right? Whenever temptation comes his way, he wants to say no to these temptations, right? And he wants to keep his body clean and fit for each and every day, right? So as you know that it is easier to say yes to the temptation, but it is difficult to say no to the temptation, to the bad things, right? So in the fourth stanza, the poet is requesting to God or praying to the God that to just make him strong to say no to the temptations, and he is praying to the God that make him strong or his body clean and fit for each and every day. In the last stanza, when my teenage years are over, I know that I will see that life is lived its very best with you walking next to me. Here, the poet reflects back on teenage years, right? He says that once when teenager grows older, he will be happy to see that his teenager's life which he lived at his best, right? And he wants God to be along with him as a companion while living the age of teenagers, right? So throughout the poem, the poet is praying to the God that he wanted help from the God to be a strong, to choose the right path, and to keep his body clean and fit for each day. And he also praying to the God that please make him strong what is to choose what is wrong or what is right. Okay, so this is all about the poem. In the poem, poet uses various figures of speech, right? So if you will see the first stanza, in the very first stanza, the poet uses inversion figure of speech. Inversion, right? Inversion, inversion figure of speech, right? So if you see the second line, decisions I must make, actually inversion is the figure of speech where poet doesn't follow the general structure of a sentence, right? What is the general structure of a sentence? The general structure of a sentence is subject verb plus object, right? So they do not follow, poet do not follow the general structure of the sentence, right? If you will see this sentence, decisions I must make, here you have I, right, over here, which is the doer of the action, right? So here I is the subject, must is the modal auxiliary, right, and make is the main verb, and decisions is object, right? So here this line is not following the general structure of the sentence, so the figure of speech used here is inversion, right? In the third stanza you find the figure of speech which is called as apostrophe, right? Apostrophe is the figure of speech where someone is directly addressed or called upon. Please open up my eyes, dear Lord. Here Lord is directly addressed, right? So again you will find alliteration in the second stanza where poet says travel down the darkened road that leads to great distress. Here you will find the repetition of sound d, right? So as there the sound is being repeated, it is an example of alliteration. Thank you.